Okay, now we're gonna go to 1 hour video, guys.
Look, I will spare myself that sweet watch time by not making a bunch of hullabaloo.
Like Lost Media of Mario.
Most other Lost Media videos will start with a giant tangent about how Mario might be in video games and has so much lost media that we gotta find before Nintendo starts dumping shit into the East River Dumont television style. But I'm not
my ears.
Lost Media YouTubers. I'm Bray Bray, and I do things the Bray way.
I'm Bray Bray.
We already know that Mario is the GOAT, and since the early 80s,
Yes, Mario's the GOAT.
another lazy ass playing the Italian plumber game while they yell at their mom to bring them more Tostinos. For starters, I want to preface that the idea for this video came about after I published an article on the Lost Media Wiki documenting every single piece of Mario-related lost media on the site for organizational purposes. It's a long story, but to sum it up, me and those stubborn little admins didn't see eye to eye on the article's continued existence, and thus it was thwarted out of the public consciousness. Am I pissed about it? Yes. But will I still make financial gains off of it? Yes. I will go in rough chronological order, covering every single piece of Mario Lost Media on the old LMW.
Okay.
Note that this list is not comprehensive by any means.
Oh, we already saw this one.
A lot are worth documenting on the wiki.
But
So sorry for all the obscure Mario LCD watch fans out there waiting for your existence to be acknowledged. That day has not yet been bestowed upon you. My aim is to keep things moving as smoothly as possible. No hard cuts between topics, no unnecessary paraphrasing off Wikipedia, just pure charisma and effervescence. Finally,
Okay.
I also use the Super Mario 64 health bar pie-looking thing to demonstrate my level of knowledge on a specific topic. 8 means I know.
Oh,
0
okay.
is a shot in the dark. I definitely did not steal this idea from a certain famous Super Mario 64 iceberg. So, let's go, I guess? This will be a long one.
Okay. Let's go. The Mario Iceberg. Mario Lost Media. Iceberg. A Bray Bray production. Yo.
As you all could probably infer, the 80s were quite the infantile stage for the Mario franchise. Thus the
Oh,
infantile stage
sorry.
of Mario Lost Media. It wasn't super duper
Oh,
prevalent.
it goes. It came back.
Lou Albano
The movie.
screens with his presence. We'll get to that, trust. The first piece of Mario Lost Media for our purposes, however, is that of a little game called Super Mario Bros. The Commodore 64 version. Fasten those seatbelts, because this story is wilder than 12 Miller Lights down the hatch while behind the wheel of the Mercury Grand Marquis. It's said that after the famous platformer for the Nintendo Entertainment System released in 1985, a company by the name of Orpheus Software out of Bedfordshire in the UK was making a port of the game for the Commodore 64. Hearing this now
Why?
doesn't make you think this is asking for a one-way trip to the Nintendo gulag, but back in those days they were a bit more lax with their IP. Case in point, an officially licensed port of the game titled Super Mario Bros. Special released for Japanese home computers in 1986. This is the
Okay.
part where you ask yourself why the game looks like I threw up while eating Sour Patch Kids. Even with that release considered, apparently when Orpheus
Sour Patch Kids mentioned it.
they were denied a license, and the game would be forever trapped in the void.
Sorry.
Now, all of this information was first discussed on a forum post from 2005 on lemon64.com, where a user by the name of NYCEguy24 discussed having played a copy of the port back in 86 or 87. According to them, and I quote this directly from the post, all I remember is that my friend asked me if I wanted to play Super Mario Bros. With him, and I thought this was impossible since both of us only owned a Commodore 64. But he booted it up, and there it was. Later, in the year that the world ended, 2012, the website Games
The year.
was like, hey, what if we take this random forum post from 7 years ago as complete fact, and make a page about Super Mario Bros. For the Commodore 64? Guess what?
Okay.
Now here we are wondering if this thing even existed, or is just some false memory. Many people on the initial post
okay.
point out that OP might have confused the game for the Great Gianna Sisters, a Super Mario Bros. Adjacent game released for personal computers, including the Commodore 64
Okay.
in 1987. More specifically, people were wondering if they played a ROM hack of the game with Mario sprites. OP adamantly denied that what they were talking about had any relation to the Gianna Sisters. Speculation aside, it remains a mystery to this very day for what Bro was yapping about. On one hand, ROM hacking really didn't exist, or at least wasn't widespread back in the late 80s, making it unlikely that this was a simple sprite makeover of Gianna Sisters. On the other hand, memory isn't perfect, and this friend could have just been bluffing or joking about the Gianna sisters resembling Mario and Luigi Mario's pipe-playing adventures. The world may never know the truth of
Maybe.
Super Mario Bros. For the Commodore 64, as to this day, it remains unconfirmed. And now to the media that has physical proof of existing. Here's Super Mario Bros. Pishime Kaishutsu Daiseiko-sen, or The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach in English. This was an anime adaptation that is actually quite well known today, but back in the early days of the internet,
okay.
look for if there was any organized lost media community. Luigi is Blue. It was produced by Nippon Television.
Luigi was blue. Blue.
2 in 1986. The Chad Japanese one, not Doki Doki Limp Dick American one, although both are pretty good games in my opinion. The film entails Mario and Luigi going on one of their typical adventures of saving that princess
Okay.
being sucked into a Famicom. Don't ask why it happened, it just does that sometimes. They use power-ups, collect coins, and destroy enemies along their adventure, all in an effort to
Okay.
save lives. Luigi is Blue. The duo arrives just in time to save Peach from forced marriage.
Luigi's Blue is crazy.
Puts the wham on the guy. It's quite the interesting film from a historical perspective, with many deviations from the typical Mario lore that we've come to expect at this point. These include the appearances of Prince Haru, Peach's love interest in the film, the addition of several characters, such as Kibidango and Miss Endless, and say it with me now, Luigi is Blue. There's
Blue.
also like a ton of merchandise released for the film. Phone cards, watches, rice containers, ramen noodles, books, the soundtrack. The film was released alongside a video strategy guide for Super Mario Bros. 2. It seemed that the great mission to rescue Princess Peach was set up to be a major part of the lore of the game it was based on. But darn diddly dang it, that was never fulfilled. The film got a small release in give or take 200 theaters in July 1986, and received
Okay.
a Betamax release by VAP Video not long after, albeit mostly for rental purposes. While the film is considered a major part of video game history, back in the ye olden days it was quite the hard film to find for Western audiences. But in 2007, the kingdom was saved when YouTube user Mendinzo uploaded the film in 7 parts, in poopy butt quality, and with 2 watermarks. Not the best way to preserve the film, but at least
2 watermarks.
for all those years. In 2022, a 16mm copy of The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach was found and restored by Kaneko Video. You can now watch the film today in 4K. A pleasant ending to
Okay,
not only
nice.
the first Mario film, but one of the first video game films in general. Yet Mario is a game, first and foremost. And you know what games have? Prototypes. Early builds of games will be a common theme throughout this video. I mean, you think I could go a week without talking about Super Mario RPG 2? Come on, I'd be dead by Wednesday. I'm not going over every single prototype of every single Mario game in existence in here because that would be a bit tedious and this video will be long enough as is, but I will cover the early builds
Okay.
since it's important enough to have articles on the wiki as stated earlier. Case in point, Super Mario Bros. 3. Grilling shit? What you are watching right now is what's been referred to as the Famimaga prototype of the game. Named after a Japanese magazine in which it was featured, there are several notable elements in it that differ from the final game.
Let me close the window. Window? Eesh, my ears. Whew.
Such as the status bar containing the text Mario instead of the world number, some level design changes, enemies appearing in places they aren't supposed to, why the hell is there a Goomba in my shower, you know, things you would see in a prototype. The timer also moves faster.
In my
and the
shower.
mechanics are shown to be more test-like in this version. Other than what can be viewed through various magazines and this footage from the show Famimaga Video, Nintendo seems to have this shit bolted up behind 10 layers of steel. You're not getting this. Trust me. So while there may be no hope in finding the SMB3 proto, I always get hope when I see the beloved, incredible, delectable, and YouTube poopable television known as the Super Mario animated series of the late 80s and early 90s. Mama Luigi and Captain Lou. That's all I need to say to convey the joy these productions bring to people. This is a segment of the video that the shows, as there's a not so surprising how sporadic and obscure these shows were even back. First on the docket is the rumored pitch pilot for the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. Well, there's no concrete proof proving its existence or lack thereof. Several screenshots from varied sources show that King Wart from Super...
Wait a minute. I don't know what is going on.
Mario Bros. 2, which remember, was a psyop by the Nintendo Ninja to silence the Lost Levels Liberation Front. But wait just a damn second. King Koopa himself is the main villain of the series, not this Wart guy. This has led to speculation that he was supposed to be the main villain of the series instead of King Koopa, and that these screenshots or mock-ups come from an extremely early pilot of the show. What gives this idea even more creepy
Yeah,
is the fact
maybe.
that were also redrawn into scenes for the final series, specifically scenes in the first episode. The bird! Exclamation point. The bird! Exclamation point. Yeah, that's the actual title, by the way. Whether or not this pilot actually existed at one point in time, it's interesting to think about what could have been. On the topic of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, it's important to note that some of the famed live-action segments from it were quite hard to find for some time. This is likely due to the sporadic and short window in which they initially aired and were released. Here's how the cookie crumbles. For 6 days a week, each episode of the program consisted of 2 live-action segments, one at the start and the other towards the end.
2 live
The
action.
middle would be the regular old animated segments based on the first 2 Super Mario Bros. Games. On Fridays, however, the Super Mario Bros. Cartoons were replaced with the Legend of Zelda cartoons, albeit with the Mario and
Legend of Zelda.
intact. It's these segments specifically that were the hardest to find, as those damn home media releases were just a little too stubborn to feature all of them. The 12 unique live-action segments that were aired with Zelda took a bit to find in full, as through various DVD and VHS releases, only 8 of them were featured. Through the power of friendship, however, all of the segments can now be watched at their own accord, thanks to someone named Various People. Hey, I know that guy. He lived down the street. King Koopa's cool
Okay.
cartoons, on the other hand, is quite the
Oh, we already saw this one too.
franchise.
But
God, the acronym is 4 letters, because I think if they called the show just King Koopa's Cartoon, someone would have been fired. This was a local production that aired on the Fox affiliate for Los Angeles KTTV-11 between 1989 and 1990 as a sort of spin-off
Like,
to the Super Show.
Namari looks kind of
Starring the
creepy
legend
in this
himself,
one.
King Koopa, aka a guy dressed in a weird-ass rubber suit. The entire premise was that he would interact with a live audience of children named King Koopa's Troopas, quote-unquote, with various old public domain cartoons
Okay.
from the 30s interspersed throughout each episode. The LMW article also makes it clear that each episode ends with Koopa telling the audience to be a good Koopa or he would Koopa Yupa. I've never been more curious as to what
Koopa Yupa.
Koopa Yupa now. Well, I'm sure the people who worked on this show had high hopes. King Koopa's cool cartoons generally did not receive Koopalicious reviews from audiences. We're probably craving more Super Show action, but instead got some green turtle freak. Other testimonials from around that time state how King Koopa looked too scared
Maybe.
of kids, and that the show is generally just strange and not very entertaining. Because of this negative feedback, King Koopa's cool cartoons reportedly never made it far outside of the LA market, although various newspaper listings from Arizona mention the show airing, as well as an unconfirmed statement that it aired on the Children's Channel in the UK. That's false.
Okay.
It seems that all that's left are sporadic clips of the show that pop up once in a Koopa Moon. Honestly, this is a really interesting topic that I couldn't do justice in this small entry. So if you want to learn more about this, Thomas Game Docs and Tristan Chano have great videos that go more in depth into this strange corner of Mario's history. Along the same
Okay.
lines as King Koopa's strange Super Show adjacent adventures, Club Mario tried to do what was once thought to be unthinkable and tried to replace the iconic live-action segments of said Super Show. Starting in April 1990, whenever the show aired in syndication, Club Mario would take Lou Albano's place that he rightfully deserved. The segments featured quote-unquote extreme Mario maniacs who go by Tommy Treehugger and Co-MC, which have to be 2 of the most 1990 names I've ever heard. They d around, have some fun, and show short films, but holy shit, these two are just so fucking obnoxious and unbearable. In fact, this entire segment is just bound up in this obnoxious early 90s edge that would make a small Victorian child want to curl up into the fetal position permanently. Like, bro,
Okay.
how to make this segment more entertaining by constantly interspersing your sentences with the names of Super Mario World special levels. And no, you're not
Okay.
making Flash Gordon more entertaining because you put a seizure-inducing background behind it. Please stop. No more, please. It seems that Deep would agree, because Club Mario would be kicked to the curb in all future releases of the Super Show, making it up to everyone else to find
Okay.
65 unique segments made for the series. In 2016, 13 segments were on YouTube and one was released onto home media, with that number increased to 37 after Rabbit Filmmaker TV uploaded 23 Club Mario segments onto their channel in 2022. According to the
Okay.
all but one of the master tapes of the segments were wiped after the downfall, although I find this hard to believe personally. Then again, I would be extremely embarrassed if I was the one who admitted to making Club Mario, so I don't know. After the success of the Super Show, Mario would continue its presence on television with new series based on Mario 3 and Mario.
Bro.
The second episode of the Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, titled Mind Your Mummy Mommy Mario, had the song Wipeout from a band known as the Surfaris. If the name of the song and band didn't give it away, picture surfer music in your head, and that's exactly what this song sounds like. This was the track in the background when Luigi, Peach, and Toad are being chased down the stairs back when the episode first aired in 1990. On later home media releases of the show, however, the track was replaced with the instrumental of Mega Move from Captain N the Game Master, likely due to copyright.
Hello. Eu já tinha ouvido, mas. Estava só a sair e a entrar e a sair e a entrar.
Issues. As small of a change as this may be,
Entrar e a sair, mas.
remember Lost Media searchers are more thorough than me with your mom. The episode wasn't featured on any home media releases. It wasn't until September 2018 Kobe the original version of the episode on YouTube.
No way.
Our final topic of the Mario Animania is from a grand land, a land known as the unconfirmed land of all unconfirmed Lost Media that is grand. The Super Mario Bros. Christmas show is, well, self-explanatory, but that's all we really know. The only mention of its existence is in 2 entries for musical compositions in the Library of Congress's public copyright database, where it is listed alongside entertainment shows.
Okay.
There's no concrete proof of its existence outside of the title. And we're finally out of the dark, scary world that is the Deep shows. It was a long journey, but I'm glad that you and me were able to make it out the other end alive. But that doesn't mean
Okay.
we're television stuff just yet. Because there's this little place that you might have never even heard of called France.
France.
Frank E? France? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, it's weird. So, as it turns out, this France place has its own Super Mario animated series.
That's
titled
France
Village of
place.
Super Mario, or the Treasures of Super Mario. It wasn't created by Nintendo or Deke, but rather the French branch of Bandai of all companies. The show is hosted by
Oh.
himself, voiced by Jean-Claude Danda. Danda? Enacted more as a promotional tool for the NES, if anything.
Sorry.
Each episode was 3 to 4 minutes long. It was more or less a very early version of what we today would call a Let's Play, featuring footage of Mario and Zelda games on the NES, with the smooth-talking voice of Josué Seicher from the French SOS Nintendo hotline yapping about tips and tricks. These would be bookended by these
Okay.
cheaply Mario segments done by a company known as IDDH, where, what do you know, he's French. Don't tell the Italians. The show aired on France 3 on Saturday evenings from circa February 1989 to sometime in mid
Okay.
As one fan of the show stated in the French Club Nintendo magazine that he was disappointed that the show didn't come back in September of that year, despite a previous announcement that the show was returning. We don't know how many episodes were made, and since it disappeared, only one 2-minute clip of the show has appeared in the public eye. I would normally yearn for more of this show getting found, but I think the world would be better off if the entire country of France became Lost Media, so I won't push that agenda.
Why?
Meanwhile, Super
Why you
Mario
want that?
Traffic Safety is over here teaching you that getting
Oh, we saw this one too.
bad. This is an anime short film based on that of Super Mario Bros. 3, meant to be shown at elementary schools and community centers to educate children on the dangers of large, depreciating assets moving along concrete paths. The film was produced by Toei Animation's Educational Film Department in June 1989.
Yeah.
In this educational short film, Shogo neglects to accompany his sister Sayaka to their mother's shop, leading Sayaka to get lost. A search ensues involving their mother and Shogo, with Mario himself stepping in to provide safety advice and assistance, not before almost hitting her because he thought she was an op. Meanwhile, Bowser appears disguised, frightening Sayaka with his big ass car before she is safely reunited with her family. Mario ultimately apprehends Bowser and teaches crucial safety tips, ending the story by flying off with the Tanuki leaf. The film uses its narrative to impart lessons on road and personal safety. Wahoo! Needless to say, some Mario traffic safety film isn't going to be at the top of everyone's preservation list. I'm honestly surprised that with all the hullabaloo about Mario's history that someone hasn't come along, ripped a copy, and put it on the internet. And yet, only a 45-second clip remains from this film. What a shame. Who will ever teach us traffic safety now? Guess who's back? Back again. Mario's back. Mario's got the suit, my friend. The Tanuki suit, that is. In Super Mario World. And if you were to know anything about Super Mario World, it's that it has a lack of skinned animals in it. But back in the olden days of 1989, that's how the game was played and was made. Super Mario World started development by the devs porting Super Mario Bros. 3 to early Super Famicom hardware, using it as a basis for the next game in the series. So it is no wonder that elements from the third game would make their way onto many early prototypes. The 1989 build, as it is known, was first shown at Show Shinkai 1989, but actually shown off to the public in 1990 with pictures in a Japanese magazine. It has quite the metric ton of differences, like the blue letters on the title screen resembling SMB3, big-ass coins that we don't know the purpose of, different sprites, different map, level design changes, lots of level design changes, trust me, Cows Clear, and of course, that Tanuki suit. The game is clearly unfinished, and still relatively early in its development. Truly a whole different beast on its own, and one of my personal favorite early builds of games ever. But you can't play it, and that's why I'm here today giving you a preview.
You can play it.
Like the bullet
Lol.
video about this subject. Legally speaking, and when I mean legally, I mean the totally existent LMW lawyers have been after me for 3 years for talking about the SpongeBob mop product, which doesn't exist, and I don't want to get any more trouble. This build is actually partially found. In 2020, Nintendo's floodgates broke like
2020.
leading to a
No
bundle
way.
of source code, unseen content, and early builds leaking out in what has retroactively become known as the Nintendo Giga Leak. While the 1989 build wasn't included in the leak, many assets from around the time of it were, mostly sprites. So, what's next for finding this insane piece of Mario history? Probably not much. Nintendo probably has this build pent up in their vault lock and key. Gambling, a time-honored tradition built on luck,
Gambling.
determination, and debt. And what could be more fun than
No
gambling
way.
with Mario? That'll for sure get all the kids hooked. Mario
No way. Mario?
Based on Super
Really?
Mario World, Mario Roulette was developed by Konami and released in
I'm finding out that Nintendo was crazy
From what I
back in
can
the
tell,
day.
The game is roulette, but not like table roulette, and no, not like Russian roulette either. You have to match the boxes and try to get a matching set of power-ups from Super Mario World to win medals, which the player can exchange for prizes at the arcade. If the player gets a Peach as the center icon, they win, but if they get Bowser, take a damn hike. Down to the casino to put it all on red, of course. The game was unavailable for many years, and considering that it was exclusive in arcades in Japan, it would be quite the tricky game to find. Quite a bit of footage did exist, however, and in 2019, Eric Chung dumped and published the ROM on the MAME Dumping Google group, a forum meant to preserve old arcade games. Now we can sleep well at night knowing we can finally play roulette with a fat Italian plumber. That same year, another illicit operation was taking place involving Mario. Kinda. Sometime in 1991, a ROM hack of the game Menace Beach was created by an unknown party titled Super Peach World. As the title suggests, you play as Daisy. Oh wait, Peach, that's right. But hold on, it gets wilder. Instead of the playable character resembling Peach, she's a Marilyn Monroe-esque woman in a skirt. But wait, it gets even wilder than that. Instead of the cutscenes like you see in Menace Beach, you see, revealing pictures of women. Yeah, I don't think it would be much of a stretch to say that no one knows who made this, nor could they find it for the longest time. Copies were known to sell on eBay for hundreds of dollars, and some gameplay footage did get out over the years.
We saw this.
2019, when user FamiMac dumped the ROM online, making it playable for the masses. I debated putting this entry on the article in the first place, considering that it's only marginally related to Mario. But hey, it's got at least a little Mario DNA in it, so I guess it counts in some weird way. And oh, is this game?
Yeah.
Alright, strap in, because we're about to go on another wild trip. Not with LSD.
Here we go.
Beats. It started back in 1989 when Super Mario Land was released.
I don't even remember which one.
Simon Harris Chris.
Which one of these were in the
More
second part?
specifically, its title track, created
Or on the
by
first
Takashi
part?
Tanaka. Now, like any normal music producer would,
Because
so I could make a bang.
if you don't know, we saw yesterday the Nintendo Iceberg Part 2. But guess what? It came out without sound, so yeah.
Out of this. So
It's gonna be a lost media now.
stared at Shigeru Miyamoto and was like, "Hey Shiggy, I got this cool idea. So basically, Super Mario Land has a good-ass tune, and I figured I could make a rap out of this." Miyamoto, not realizing the danger of giving a British man the power to create hip-hop, gave him his blessing. This led to the formation of a rap group by the name of Ambassadors of Funk, whose sole purpose was to rap about Mario, with all of this officially licensed by Nintendo, mind you. In 1992, they would release the song
Okay.
Super Mario Land with British rapper Einstein, aka Colin Case, doing the vocals. And the rest is certainly something. Super Mario Land would actually end up becoming a mild success in Britain, peaking at number 8 on the UK charts and 35 on
No
the
way.
Hot 100.
Really?
Nintendo was apparently so pleased with the song that they recorded a whole album based on games in the Mario series, releasing as Super Mario Compact Disco later that year. But not only was the
Okay.
song itself a production of bombastic proportions, it had a music video filmed at the Chessington World of Adventures theme park near London. It's got a guy in a Mario suit and 2 British guys rapping and dancing. Yeah, I see you over there shaking in fear. Basically, it's this for the entire 3-minute video, but hey, at least they're having a fun time. This video was lost briefly when it got taken off of YouTube by Simon Harris's label Living Beat Records. However, it was re-uploaded onto sites like Dailymotion and the Internet Archive, so we don't have to worry about losing the sheer aura that this video gives. While Britain can have their fun with Mario, nothing beats the old
Okay.
Stars and Stripes, and that is evident in the cancelled game Mario Takes America. Ironically enough, the game was developed by a Canadian developer,
Um,
the infamous CDI.
we saw this one too.
The Dutch electronics conglomerate Philips back in 1992. It involves Mario visiting various locations in the United States on his journey towards Hollywood so he could star in a feature film. He starts in New York, then travels to various iconic American landmarks like the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, the Statue of Liberty, and who could forget Gary, Indiana? Okay, maybe not that last one. Taking advantage of the CDI's capabilities was the presence of full-motion video taken from helicopters, cars, and speedboats, with 2D sprites of Mario based on that of the Deke cartoons. They even had backup sprites of Sonic and original characters named Metal and Heavy, just in case the deal didn't work out. SIGAM could not get the game working as intended due to performance issues and limitations from the CDI. I really don't know what else they were expecting on that front. This resulted in the company going completely bankrupt, with all of Mario Takes America's assets being repossessed by the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, or CIBC. And if you're trying to hit a link on TD RBC, Scotiabank RBC, CIBC, PC Financial, holla at me, because this game remains completely lost. Now, for reasons that also remain completely lost on me, Nintendo wouldn't stop licensing out Super Mario World for companies to make arcade cabinets for little kids. We've seen this before with Mario Roulette, and we'll see it again later, but now it's time to talk about the wonders of Kirby Denwa, Super Mario World, released onto arcades in 1992 by Banpresto. According to the Super Mario Wiki, the arcade cabinet is 128 centimeters tall and 50 centimeters on all sides, and it weighs 28 kilograms. It uses an alternating current of 100 volts, 50 to 60 hertz, and 80 watts. Very important information to note for the test. In all seriousness, the game was a part of a larger series of Tirabi Denwa games created by Banpresto, where a player would be asked puzzle or action-based questions by Mario to then be answered with this telephone-like contraption. From what I can see, it's less of an actual game and more of an interactive multiple-choice quiz similar to what you would see on something like the Sega Pico. This game was basically in the same situation as that of Mario Roulette. It was only released in Japanese arcades, and people forgot about the game over a period of 3 decades. It wasn't until the great savior Phil Bennett from the land of Twitter came along and dumped the game on MAME in 2023. There are some visual irregularities of the dumped build, such as that of Mario's secret second mouth located on his nose, but otherwise it's the same Tirabi Denwa Super Mario World we all know and love. As we've discussed, Mario was supposed to be a major pull for the Philips CDI, for reasons that are completely beyond human comprehension, that ended up not being the case. This resulted in not 1, not 3, but 2 cancelled Mario games for the system. We've talked about Mario Takes America before, and now it's time to talk about what is, in my opinion, the more interesting of the two games. Super Mario's Wacky World was supposed to be a kinda sorta sequel to Super Mario World developed by Nova Logic in 1993 for the CDI. Much like Mario Takes America, the game would have departed from the Mushroom Kingdom and hit the streets of the real world, allowing Mario to traverse
Okay.
Greece, Egypt, the Aztec Empire, and who could forget an iceberg. The game seemed to take on a more traditional side-scrolling style as compared to other CDI Mario games.
Okay.
It established enemies like Goombas and Koopa Troopas, with sprites based on Super Mario World, albeit not exact ones. Now, you may have noticed that the video footage I've been showing you gives off that the game is in a very unfinished state. Goombas freeze in minutes
Yeah.
when you touch them, there's no sound effects, and Mario just straight up can't swim in the underwater stages. This is for good reason. Only 2 developers worked on the game over a period of 2 weeks before showing the game to Nintendo. It was reportedly so rushed that it was ported to a disc only 4 hours before the presentation was to take place. They worked day and night, rain and shine, all for nothing.
Yeah, that's
Despite
crazy.
Nintendo's approval of the project, the CDI was just too much of a piece of crap to justify doing anything for it. Approximately 80% of the game's art, 95% of its design, and around 30% of its code was finished. 3 prototypes are known to exist, all of which were leaked online under quite mysterious circumstances. We know of one that was sold on eBay for $1,000, as well as another that was ripped straight from an ISO. Regardless, the game is playable, at least to some extent. We're getting to an anticlimactic point in this adventure where I have to retread old ground and talk about something that I've already covered in the past. This one comes from my Virtual Boy Cancelled Games video, specifically, Being Mario Bros. BB. As the name implies, this was a remake of the 1983 arcade platformer that marked the debut of the Plumber
Okay.
and Favorite Plumber's brother. It was first shown off at Shoshinkai in 1994 along with other cancelled Virtual Boy games. The gameplay would have been similar to the original arcade game, where you play as Mario or Luigi and try to clear the screen of enemies to advance to the next stage. From the footage available, the game didn't seem to take much advantage of the Virtual Boy's fake 3D capabilities, and if anything, just seemed to be the original arcade game remade in red and black. While the game would continue to make occasional press appearances until July 1995, the game would never be released, and the playable demo available at Shoshinkai has never resurfaced. However, a similar game for the Virtual Boy, Mario Clash, would release in late 1995. The game took more advantage of the console's stereoscopic capabilities and was generally well received. It's almost certain that this is what Mario BB became in the end. Quote the late
Okay.
Billy Mays, but wait, there's more. One other Mario game for the Virtual Boy is known to exist, but was deemed not intended for human consumption. Not to be confused with our last entry, BB Mario Land was like Super Mario Land. For the Virtual Boy, of course. Who's excited? I know you are. Come on, don't give me that look. This was intended to be a killer app for the fledgling console, but ended up being scrapped likely due to its failure. It had Mario traverse through vast 2D side-scrolling levels, with the added gimmick of being able to traverse into the background.
Yeah, we saw this one
top-down
too.
segment, similar to that of the dungeons in 2D Zelda games. Attendees of the 1995 Consumer Electronics Show were able to play a demo of the game, where much of the known information about this comes from. It seemed to be more of a proof of concept, if anything, one which was likely turned into Virtual Boy Wario Land, considering this Wario-themed enemy in the foreground. Mario Clash also seemed to use some elements from this demo. Pretty interesting shit. Very recently, as in like 3 days before I'm writing this, someone found extremely high-quality images of the demo, which were given out to the press
No
during
way.
its appearance at CES. Here's hoping that one day Miyamoto's like, it's time to let go. And now,
Okay. We stop for now. We come back later. And maybe I will sleep a little bit. I know. I did this yesterday, but phew, I need that. I need to rest a bit.